podcast. I'm your host, Tom Hamill. Today we are talking about cultivating forgiveness, what that looks like, how to be set free from it, how to move forward with your life. So that's what we're talking about, cultivating forgiveness. Let's get into it. Every single one of us, if you've lived on this planet, you've made any trips around the sun, right? You have had people who have hurt you, offended you, maybe wounded you, right? Whatever the terminology is, sometimes life just gets at you. And there's people, we say the phrase, haters are gonna hate, right? And it's amazing, sometimes the boldness, the stupidity, the things that people say and do, you're just, woo, this is crazy. But living the cultivated life is all about not being paralyzed by those moments, not getting stuck in those moments, and moving forward. And let me just tell you, cultivating forgiveness, the life of forgiveness, where you're just letting those things go, helps you to move forward, helps you to move past those, and helps you grow as a person. So I got a couple of key things that I just wanted to bring out today on how we can cultivate forgiveness so that we can become the person we're meant to be and not get stuck in the drama that can come in holding offense, holding some bitterness, and just kind of, how it festers our lives up like that when we don't move forward and don't grow forward from those kind of sticky, messy relationships and situations that come in our life. So one of the first things I wrote down here in my notes, I always have a little notepad so I can try to stay on target as we chat on this. Not forgiving someone, right? And we've all had those where we just, whether that's a spouse or a loved one, a parent, a sibling, right? Whatever that is, that crazy uncle that we have, that sort of thing, whatever that is, when you choose to not forgive someone, it keeps you chained to that person. And someone right now watching or listening, you're thinking about a situation that maybe even happened 20 years ago that still is fresh in your mind because you've been chained to that incident. You've been chained to that person this whole time because you haven't been able to cultivate forgiveness in your heart to just let that thing go. And instead of moving past that, you've held on, you've stayed stuck there, and it's prevented you from growing because you haven't cultivated forgiveness. And the reason I even use this term, cultivating forgiveness, because oftentimes forgiving someone for the wounds, the things that were said, the damage that was done, the things that happened, is an ongoing process. It's not a one and done. It takes cultivating that forgiveness over and over and over again so that we can grow past it, so that we can move past it. But until you do, you stay bound and chained to that event, to that person, to that time. And the cultivated life is about growing. It's about moving forward. And you, my friend, want to grow past that. You want to move forward. You want to become the person of destiny that you're wanting to become. And in order to do that, you have to cultivate forgiveness in your heart and in your life. Secondly, not doing this keeps those incidences, keeps those situations as a wound rather than a scar. And I did a whole episode on this. I don't even remember which one. I know that we talked about this in the past, right? The difference between a wound and a scar. A wound is fresh open. A wound is a current cut, and it could be a deep cut. But a scar says, hey, that event happened, but I've healed it. I've healed from it. I've healed through it. I've grown through it. I'm better. I talked about my broken leg and how I have scars from that broken leg. But even in the midst of that brokenness, my leg is now stronger where that break took place. Now 12 years ago is when I broke my leg. It was a silly skateboarding accident that is quite humorous now. It wasn't funny at the time. You can ask my wife. But now it's funny. Ha ha ha. Tommy broke his leg dropping in on a half pipe. That's exactly, literally what happened. But now, where that calcium buildup is, where those once were wounds have now become scars, I'm stronger, and it's the evidence, yes, there was damage, but that I've grown through it, I've moved through it, I've moved past it, and I'm healed, and I'm whole, and I'm better, right? So that's the difference between a wound and a scar. But here's the thing. When a wound stays open for too long, it gets infected. And that is exactly what happens to our lives when we don't cultivate forgiveness. We become infected by that damage. We become infected. Our minds become infected. Our outlook on life becomes infected by this festering, whatever gross terminology you want to come up with. We become gross. We become damaged. We become dirty. We become bitter. Our outlook on life becomes so negative and tainted because we haven't walked in forgiveness. We haven't cultivated forgiveness in our life. And so instead of turning the wounds into scars, saying, hey, yep, that happened. Yep, it's real. The damage was real, but I've healed from it. I've gotten stronger from it. And now I've got stories I can share with it and live this cultivated life from it. Instead of becoming that, these wounds stay open. They get infected and they fester and they start doing even greater damage than the original offense. And that's what happens when we don't cultivate forgiveness in our life, forgiveness in our minds, forgiveness in our hearts. We can't heal past it, move past it, because it's this open, festered, infected wound that is just really continuing to take root in our life, take damage in our hearts, and prevents us from becoming the person that we really want to become. And here's what happens. When we live an infected life rather than a cultivating forgiveness life, we start infecting other people around us. We start projecting or spewing our damage onto other people, and we start tainting other people's perspective on life. And rather than cultivating life in them, we're infecting them with our outlook. We're infecting them with our mindset. And it's so amazing how one offense from 10, 12, 20 years ago can continue to affect our outlook and our mindset today. And we go, oh, that's not possible because of this back here. And that's not possible because that person's going to wound me. That person's going to offend me. And it filters into every single area, relationship, encounter, conversation, possibility, opportunity. It infects every single thing of our life. And we don't even realize it. That's the dangerous part, is that we become blind to how that offense is affecting and infecting every single thing and category and area of our life. And it damages us to the point atrophy steps in and the lack of growth seeps into our life, and we never live this cultivated life or come alive into the life and destiny and person that we're meant to be. All that to say this: cultivating forgiveness is more about you than it is the person that hurt you or offended you or that wounded you. Living the cultivated life of forgiveness is more about you walking in freedom. It's more about you walking in growth. It's more about a mind shift and a heart shift in you than it is anything at all about letting that person or that situation off the hook. In fact, that's the very opposite. Walking in forgiveness forces you to say, yes, that happened. Yes, I recognize that happened. Yes, I declare that happened, but I'm not going to be prisoner to that anymore. I'm not going to be paralyzed to that anymore. I'm going to move forward in that. I'm going to move forward past that relationship. Maybe it was a failure. Maybe it was miserable. Maybe it caused all this, but I'm going to grow from that. By cultivating forgiveness, I'm going to let it go. I'm going to move past that. I'm going to move through it. And that thing that has been a wound is turning into a scar starting today. It's going to be healed. It's going to be whole. And I'm going to move through that because I'm going to cultivate forgiveness in my heart, in my life, in my mindset. And I'm not going to be a prisoner to those thoughts, to those emotions. Just imagine not forgiving someone, how it paralyzes your emotional growth and your emotional maturity. There's so many things that get held hostage by this. And you can decide today, I'm going to live the cultivated life. I'm going to cultivate forgiveness towards whatever that situation is. And we all have them, every single one of us. It's not saying that one person's is worse or greater or stronger or more damaging than another. We all have them. The pain is real. The situations are real. And so this is not about a scale of hurtfulness or damage in your life. It's saying that no matter what that is, starting today, those wounds are going to become scars, saying, I'm going to heal past them. I'm going to be stronger because of them. And I'm moving forward because I am going to cultivate forgiveness and be free, not paralyzed from those moments in my life, from those relationships in my life, from those situations, so that you and I can live the cultivated life. Again, forgiveness is more about you becoming the person of destiny than letting them off the hook and pretending like it didn't happen. That's not what forgiveness is. We get this crazy idea that that's what forgiveness is. Forgiveness is, oh, don't worry about it. You don't have to take responsibility. Nope. That's a lie. That's not what forgiveness is. Forgiveness is saying, in my heart, in my mind, I'm going to let that go, and I'm going to keep letting that go because I'm not going to be paralyzed by that anymore, and I'm going to grow past that. I'm going to do me, you do you, and I'm going to move past that. That's what cultivating forgiveness is all about. It's saying, I'm not going to be prisoner to that person. Those wounds are being turned into scars, showing that I'm stronger, that I'm better, that I'm moving through it. That's the cultivated life. That's cultivating forgiveness. My challenge to you today, my call to action to you today, is to not pretend like it didn't happen, not deny that it happened. That's not the cultivated life. That's not the authentic cultivated life. My challenge for you today is to own it and to cultivate forgiveness towards whatever it is that's been holding you, that's been taking up too much headspace, that's been taking up too much heart space, and say, you know what? Starting today, those wounds are becoming scars. I'm going to get stronger. I'm going to have proof that I've healed, that I've gotten better, and I'm moving forward. I'm going to learn to trust again. I'm going to learn to hope again. I'm going to learn to have new relationships again. I'm going to, whatever the case is, right? Because obviously I don't necessarily know what your wounds are. I don't know what those hurts are. But what I'm more interested in than those hurts, than those scars, is that you living the cultivated life. Here's the last thing that I want to leave with you. I got just a few minutes, but this is what I know. Our pain is never wasted. Here's what I mean by that. How could you, living the cultivated life, cultivating forgiveness, turn your scars into stories? Because there are people in this world going through the same hurts that you've gone through. They've got the same wounds that you now of, that you could tell your story, that there is hope on the other side of the wound. There is life on the other side of the wound, that they too could live the cultivated life. They too could get through what you got through. And it's not about comparing pain. It's not about comparing stories. It's about living a cultivated life and sharing a cultivated life that if you can get through it, so can they. And so you use your pain to bring healing to other people. Your life, listen, there are so many things that wanted to take you out. There are so many reasons to throw in the towel, but you're still here. You are stronger. You are better. You are a survivor. You are a thriver. You are living the cultivated life. And so your pain is never wasted. Those wounded relationships, those wounded decisions, those wounded choices, right? Your scars now, not wounds. You've come through that. You've cultivated past that. Don't waste your pain. Use your story. Cultivate your story of forgiveness, your story of growth, your story of breakthrough, your story of survival to say, if I did it, you can do it. One day soon, I'm going to do a show just on my whole story. It's a crazy story. It's a ridiculous story. I am personally intimate with this. I'll even drop this to you. I had to cultivate forgiveness towards my father. We had a really tough relationship when I was younger. Man, it's an incredible story, right? And I know this firsthand from personal experience, and I can tell you, one of the greatest joys in my life is when I get to tell that story of cultivating forgiveness towards my dad and how people have been healed or known that they can be healed from their wounds, from their damaged relationships by me sharing mine. And so I just say that today to say your pain won't be wasted. That what was a story of pain, what was meant to take you out, becomes a story of strength and hope for others. That's the cultivated life. That's cultivating forgiveness in you and through you. Hey, that's a Cultivated podcast today. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Be sure to hit the subscribe button so that you don't miss any of the content that we're going to be unpacking as we continue to journey together on this cultivated life. Be sure to look us up on social media, Facebook, Instagram, at Tom Hammel, TomHammel. We're on YouTube. We'd love to hear your story. We'd love to hear your thoughts, your feedback, your ideas. Be sure to tell us what your cultivated journey looks like. We read those things, we respond to those things, and again, this is about journeying together, the cultivated community, living the cultivated life. Thanks again for listening and watching. We'll catch you next time. Thanks for checking us out today on the Cultivation Podcast. Be sure to hit the subscribe button so you don't miss any of the incredible content that's coming your way. Also, in the comment thread below, be sure to put your comments, your feedback, your story. We want to hear that. We want to hear from you. We read those. We respond to those. We journey together in this cultivated life.